AMC's The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
AMC's The Walking Dead.
So, we're going to get right into the spoilers, so this is not going to, like always, we never do spoiler-free reviews here. We are going to dissect this latest episode. So, right off the bat, let's talk about the fact that we didn't lose we lost not just one character, but two.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was disappointed about the last dude who died.
All right. So who dies? So we've seen some foreshadowing of this in earlier episodes. I want to say Richard at one point took Daryl out to instigate something between the Saviors and the Kingdom, and that would have involved getting
Carol killed.
Carol either kidnapped or killed, and Daryl was going to have no part in it. In fact, he beat the snot out of Richard to stop that from happening. So Richard is still on the kick, though. He still is wanting something to happen,
which I really liked. I really liked him.
I did too, and I mean, I understand where he was coming from, and I think that's what they wanted us to take away from him. But man, it went all kinds of wrong. Which I like the fact that he had a plan, and it didn't work out the way he thought it would. Like it didn't. Things just didn't go smoothly. So what happened? Well, Morgan is helping King Ezekiel. I have to be proper here. King Ezekiel. And the other, I want to say knights, the people who are wearing the
Royal
armor,
Guard.
which I can't stand that. The armor is getting on my nerves at this point because it's so tiny. Like, it literally covers this much. and like their gut area is completely exposed. It's like, what do you think that's going to protect you from? Like, it might protect from a few walker bites, but I don't. It looks stupid at this point. It's getting really, really like pointless. Like, you've got so many holes in that armor.
Chinks.
Exactly.
Oh gosh, I'm not racist.
Oh no.
I mean, like, chinks in the armor, guys. Calm down.
People have gotten in trouble for far less. So they're making a drop, and they're dropping cantaloupes. And I want to say there's supposed to be 12 that they're giving to the Saviors.
Wasn't it 13? I think it was 13, and then they gave them 12.
Okay.
And the Saviors love their cantaloupes.
And they're
when they don't get one.
Also, they're very particular about not being short, which is something else that they have led up to this point from previous episodes. So the first thing they do, I can't think of his name, but he's like the head of that group of Saviors that is meeting with them.
I don't know his name either.
He's not a very memorable character.
No.
So he counts the stuff.
He's not as annoying as the other guy who goes to Hilltop with like the mustache.
Who's always smiling.
He's not as annoying as him.
Anthony.
Yeah, he's actually nicer than him. The other guy.
Yeah, he's more reasonable, I would say. So he counts the stuff, and then he says, "We're also taking all of your guns." Which,
why does he say that again? Did something happen?
Well, they hand their guns over. As soon as he hands their guns over, he's like, "The reason why I take your guns away is because you guys are probably about to get emotional." And that's when he's like, "You're short. Like, there's not as many cantaloupes here. You're one short.
Freaking cantaloupe."
Yeah, and he made like this big deal about it. And Ezekiel's like, we'll go get it for you. And he's like, no, it's not good enough. Like, you have one day, but something's going to happen as a result.
Then the super annoying dude who took Morgan's stick.
Oh yeah, the guy who's been.
I hate him so much.
Yeah,
he points the gun at him.
At Richard.
Yeah, at Richard.
Richard steps forward basically to offer himself, and
at that point I knew what would happen.
Yeah, and the thing is the kid's name Ben?
Maybe, I don't know. Benjamin.
Okay,
I heard them called Ben. I've never really heard Ben, but that's
so Benjamin, we'll call him. And I saw this. Honestly, I saw this coming because they were doing all that. They were doing the typical "we're about to kill a character off" stuff with Benjamin. You saw him hanging out with Morgan. Morgan was getting attached.
I never cared about him.
King Ezekiel was getting attached to him. Yeah, he didn't, but they didn't write him like a character that you should care about. They wrote him in as a character that other characters would care about, like Morgan, like Ezekiel. So he shoots Benjamin in the leg.
Was it the leg? Okay.
It was
I never
the
actually
leg.
saw. I
Yeah.
thought it was like the side or something.
And at first you're like, he just got shot in the leg. And I thought, I want to say during the commercial break with the group that I was watching with, they're like, yeah, but he just got shot in the leg. I'm like, well, the thing about the leg is you have one of the biggest arteries in your body, the femoral artery. It's near your femur. If that gets cut, you can bleed to death very, very fast. So that's what I'm like. If he's got that cut, that he's gonna need like major surgery, and he's probably not gonna make it. And that's exactly what happens. They actually take him to Carol's. They try to save him. He bleeds out before they can.
They tried to go quicker, but the dude was like, he was like, we got to talk about that. And he was like, 1 cantaloupe tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less. And then they left. So they didn't have enough time, and they probably couldn't have either way.
And this really triggers Morgan. Like he starts.
He thinks he's like Dwayne. Yeah, he's like Dwayne.
Yeah, and he says that later, but he goes back to. He basically starts retracing the route that they took.
You have to clear.
You have to clear. Yeah, he's really having a relapse.
He's like about to like cut himself or something.
Yeah, he's really having a relapse of
He's triggered.
How he used to be back. I think it was like season 3 or season 4.
Yeah, 4, I think.
When Rick ran into him again. So he goes back along the route and he finds underneath this crate the missing
he's like
cantaloupe.
And there's a cantaloupe. Yep.
And he starts piecing it together.
The bury me here thing.
Yeah, on their way there.
I didn't get that till the very end when he was like taking him there. I was like, oh, he dug that.
And let's talk about that. So they on their way to the drop before all this stuff goes down. There's a barricade of shopping carts, which I don't know, for some reason just started to make me laugh. Like it's just shopping carts,
and it makes an arrow pointing to the grave.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. That makes total sense now. But yeah, you're right. It's like a whole bunch of shopping carts. It just is an arrow pointing to behind a building, and they go down there. They go over the building, and there's a cardboard sign that says "Bury me here."
And there's some bag that says
Doug
Katie?
grave.
Was that like the dude's wife?
That was his daughter. That was his daughter's backpack. So, and we see him dig that before, so we know he's up to something.
Wait, we saw him dig it?
You did. You saw him at the very beginning. He went to that spot, picked up the backpack, looked at it, and then started basically digging his own grave.
Oh.
And we see when Morgan finds his cantaloupe, we see like this flashback of Richard like hiding the cantaloupe so that they would be short. And his whole plan was to get himself killed so that the kingdom would start fighting the saviors or give them a reason to fight.
Not a great plan.
Not a great plan.
It was a pretty good plan if it
until
worked.
that one jerk decided, I'm not going to kill you, I'm going to kill Benjamin here. Or shoot Benjamin. I don't think they meant to kill him because they go back.
The dude was pretty... Yeah, the head dude was like pretty mad about that.
They go back. Of course, Morgan confronts Richard about it.
I knew he was gonna do something when I saw his face when he was talking to him. Like the whole time he was just like he had like that.
In his room,
like,
and he didn't say a word. I don't know if you noticed that.
The whole
Morgan,
exchange, he never said anything.
All he does is he
walks in there, and
he
throws
the crate in front of him, and of course Richard goes into the whole this is why I did that. Like we need to fight, yada yada yada.
And he doesn't say a word, and I'm just like, oh, Morgan's about to kill him.
Yeah. So they go back to the drop the next day. They bring the cantaloupe, and Richard, I want to say Richard is the one that brings it over to him, or he approaches the saviors, and you just see Morgan walk up behind him.
Really suddenly.
Yeah, hits him with his stick, and
chokes him to death.
Chokes and slams his head into the concrete and kills Richard there and then. And of course Ezekiel's like, he doesn't know anything about this. Mm-hmm. And apparently, Richard was going to tell them that he was at fault, but he doesn't give him the chance. He just kills him, and he's like, he's the reason why Benjamin got killed. And that's when he accidentally calls Benjamin Dwayne, which is the name of his son who got killed. So he's more, there's more evidence that he's relapsing.
And was it Carol? So he goes to Carol after that, and he tells her what happened. Wasn't it Carol that went to King Ezekiel afterwards and said that they had to fight? Yeah,
she does. But yeah, first, after this happens, Morgan goes to and they, of course, they bury Richard in the spot he wanted to be buried in, so he got what he wanted. And Morgan goes to Carol's house and just is like, "You want to know what happened with the Saviors? Well, Glenn and Abraham are dead." And like, he just basically tells her, and then he this is the scene I didn't get. I wasn't paying too much attention to it. But I guess at that point he's like just gonna go on a killing spree and go after the Saviors on his own.
Really?
Carol stops him. Carol stops him from going, and just is like, "No, you go into the house. You go in there." And I guess he agrees to, or he doesn't say anything. He just goes into the house. That's when Carol goes to the kingdom area away from her house and tells Ezekiel that they need to fight. And that's pretty much the end of the episode.
So Richard got what he wanted in the end, I guess.
But he ended up getting someone else killed in the process.
Yeah.
And I think he knew that was a possibility, but he tried his best to make sure that it was him that was going to get killed.
No sacrifice, no victory. Right? Isn't that what they say in Transformers?
Oh, yeah, they do. No sacrifice, Sam Witwicky. No victory. But how do you rate this episode?
Notice how far we jumped into the episode, like when talking about it, how far ahead we skipped.
Yeah.
That means that a lot of it before was kind of boring. Like, I mean, like the whole thing with Carol, like going, like talking. What was it? Who was it? Yeah, Carol that went to Morgan, like talking to him and stuff. That was interesting, but like I don't know, a lot of it was kind of boring. But the end was really cool. So I'd probably have to give it like a 7.5.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd actually give it a 9 out of 10 because I love episodes that surprise me.
Yeah.
And it was surprising that Morgan just straight up kills Richard. I that took me by surprise. I love that the fact that we are getting everything's coming to a head with the Saviors.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, as far as the kingdom goes, they have come to the conclusion that they won't need to fight, or they will need to fight. And I guess there was also like another scene where Ezekiel is told by one of the people in the kingdom, like, we're going to have to throw out all this crop because weasels have gotten into it. And so he's like, all right, we'll go ahead and burn it. And she said, well, the nice thing is even though you burn all of it, it's all going to grow back. And that's kind of like basically saying, like, even though they've lost Richard and Ben, like, it's almost like saying they're replaceable. But they're basically saying, like, you're gonna lose something for something better.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they are. I mean, and that was honestly the point Richard was trying to get across. Like, yes, people are going to die. So in the end, Richard was right. Like, people are going to die, and they're going to have to. And it kind of plays into the theme of freedom isn't free. Like, we live in the United States of America. At least people who are watching this who are in the U.S. If you're watching this from another country, this may not make a whole lot of sense to you, but in the U.S. we're very obsessed with freedom because we understand the price of freedom. I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying that's completely what our country was founded on. So I feel like it had a lot of those cool undertones going on. And then, of course, you see near the end of the episode, Ezekiel and Carol remaking that garden or replanting those crops.
Oh, yeah.
So that was I think that was
they were also burying the kid, right?
No, those are just crops.
Yeah.
Those are just crops. So yeah, I think it was really strong. I would give it a 9 out of 10.
I mean, yeah, it was cool, the end and stuff, but before it was just a little dull. I don't know.
Well, you got to have lead up.
Yeah.
Oh, and points for Carol using a one-way sign to take out walkers. Just have them
on
walk
the
into-
tree when she's like,
Yeah, just that was pretty cool.